Hello, welcome to this video. So today I'm going to be showing you the Cbt cycle and showing you just how that works. So the Cbt cycle is relevant for any given situation, and the first situation that I've chosen this morning is I am struggling to understand the work that I have been set. There are 4 elements to the Cbt cycle, and whatever the situation, the elements stay the same. So those elements being thoughts, feelings as in emotions, behaviour and bodily sensations. And every situation is going to give us different things under each of these headings. So I'm going to start with the thoughts. I'm struggling to understand the work that I have been set can trigger various thoughts, so let's have a look at them now. This might trigger a thought of, it's hopeless. You may think, I can't do it. And this may lead to bigger thoughts, such as, I always struggle. I'm no good. Or, everyone else is better than me. And when we have these thoughts, they lead us to feel a certain way. So how do these thoughts make us feel? They can leave us feeling hopeless. Having these kind of thoughts is going to make us feel quite unmotivated. They could make us feel despondent or sad. And of course, fed up or frustrated. So with all these negative thoughts and these difficult feelings going on, what's our behaviour likely to be like? Due to how horrible we're feeling, we might retreat. We might become snappy or impatient with others. We might give up completely or isolate ourselves just to get some space from this horrible thing that's happening. And then we might start overthinking about all the other times where we haven't been able to do something and where we struggled, and other times where we've felt hopeless. Now with all this going on, we're really going to be feeling it in our bodies. So what kind of bodily sensations might you notice? You might notice a heaviness in your muscles or a general heaviness in your body or your stomach. You might notice some changes to your breathing or a change in your heart rate. You might feel a lump in your throat, perhaps, or some muscle tension or pain. So now that we've filled in all of these different elements of the cycle, what we need to do now is add in the links. And everything is linked, so we can add in arrows between the different elements. We can put an arrow leading from thoughts to feelings, because when we have these thoughts such as it's hopeless, I can't do it, I always struggle, it leads to hopelessness, a lack of motivation, despondency, sadness, frustration. We can put an arrow from feelings to behaviour, because when we feel these ways, it causes our behaviour to match how we feel. When we feel hopeless, we retreat. When we feel unmotivated, sometimes we give up completely. When we feel fed up and despondent, we might isolate. And when we're feeling all of these things, it's overwhelming, and we start to overthink about all the other times that bad things have happened. We can put an arrow between thoughts and bodily sensations, because when we have such thoughts as it's hopeless, I can't do it, it causes us to have certain physical sensations, a heaviness in our body, maybe an increased heart rate as we worry about not being any good, a lump in our throat as it all feels so overwhelming. We can put an arrow from bodily sensations to behaviour. When we feel this heaviness and an increased heart rate, that lump in the throat and the muscle tension, again it can cause us to want to retreat even more. It can make us think more about the things that have gone wrong. It can cause us to be snappy and impatient because you don't feel right inside. We can put an arrow direct from thoughts to behaviour, because having negative thoughts, again, can cause us to want to isolate, to give up, and to think even more about all the things that have gone wrong. I've put a double-headed arrow between feelings and bodily sensations, because the way we feel can often cause us to have physical sensations. And equally, when we have these physical sensations, they can make us feel even worse. So that change in breathing and the change in heart rate can cause us perhaps to feel more fed up and frustrated because we're feeling bad in our bodies again. That heaviness can lead to further hopelessness, which in turn might lead to further heaviness and muscle tension or pain. We can have a double-headed arrow between thoughts and behaviour, so we can have one going the other way. Certain behaviours can lead to more thoughts. We give up completely, and then we're sure that we're no good. We isolate and we feel that it really is hopeless. I've put another arrowhead on the arrow between thoughts and feelings, this time feelings leading to thoughts. So that hopelessness breeds more hopeless thoughts. That despondency breeds more thoughts of I can't do it and it's always a struggle. And maybe there's some new thoughts there that come in. I put another arrowhead on the thoughts body link, because actually bodily sensation can also lead to more thoughts. And I'm sure you can think of a few. And the final one to put an extra arrowhead on is on the link between body and behaviour. So actually, behaviours can also lead to bodily sensations, because when we retreat, we might notice even more heaviness in our bodies. When we give up completely, it might cause us to feel other sensations because of that. When we overthink, it can cause some physical reactions as other emotions are stirred up. So because of all those links between each of the elements of the cycle going backwards and forwards, what we end up with is a bit of a jumble. Every single part of the cycle affects every single other part, and we end up with essentially a massive mixing bowl of bits of behaviour, bits of thoughts, bits of feelings, bits of bodily sensations, and they're all jumbled together and mixed round and round and round. So no wonder we're so confused when we get in situations that we find overwhelming. So now that everything's all jumbled up together, what do we do to unjumble things? So CBT stands for Cognitive Behavioural Therapy, and that means that in CBT what we're targeting are the cognitions, or the thoughts, and the behaviour. So if we're targeting the thoughts, and we pick one of the thoughts, I can't do it, and we make a change to that, what could we change it to? So maybe we could change that thought to, well, it feels like I can't do it, but maybe I can give it my best shot. Maybe I'll get more of it done than I think I will. Then how's that going to impact on the rest of the cycle? Alternatively, if we were to pick one of the behaviours and make a small change to that, so for example, if we pick retreat, when we retreat, we don't have an opportunity then to see whether we can actually do it, because we've given up. So if we didn't retreat and instead we stayed in the situation and we had another go, we might find that we could do more of it than we thought we could, or we might find that we then bump into somebody who is able to give us some help, and that in turn will give us hope. So again, what impact might that have on the rest of the cycle? So making those small changes then might have an impact on feelings. We might start feeling more confident or more hopeful because we've had a go and because we haven't run away from the situation. So we have more belief in ourselves that we can do it. So again, this might cause us to have more positive thoughts. And bodily sensations wise, we may end up feeling calmer. Our heart rate may return to normal. And we may find that the lump in our throat disappears as we start to feel a little bit calmer, a little less overwhelmed, and our body sensations return to normal as the adrenaline reduces, because we're not overwhelmed and highly anxious anymore. And so now you can see how the CBT cycle works. So you can see how each situation has 4 elements: thoughts, feelings, behaviours and bodily sensations. And you've seen how all these interlink to cause us complete overwhelm at times, and that can be really difficult to deal with. However, when we use some CBT strategies and start to make changes to the thoughts or start to make changes to some of the behaviours, then what we find is because everything's interlinked and whirled up together, then everything else in the cycle will start to change too. So just by making some positive changes in one part of the cycle, that has a knock-on effect on every other part of the cycle. So that's a very simplified way of explaining things, and it can get more complicated than that, and obviously with each different situation there's different things coming under each element. But maybe you'd like to have a go yourselves, think of a situation and list the 4 elements, and then fill in the thoughts, feelings, behaviour and bodily sensations for that situation that you have chosen, and see if you can figure out where the links are and which part's influencing what. And if you can make any changes to perhaps your behaviour, then what are the changes that you perhaps could make? What are the easy changes? And what's the impact that that's likely to have? So just have a think about that. I hope you've enjoyed this video today, the CBT cycle, and I'll be back for more videos soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.